Greetings and welcome to our midweek worship here at Light of Faith Bible Fellowship, where Yahushua HaMashiach, commonly called Jesus the Christ, Jesus the Messiah, is our light. Our statement of belief is this: living, he loved us; dying, he saved us; buried, he carried our sins far away; but rising, he justified us, freed us forever. One day he's coming back, one glorious day, and until that day, we occupy until he comes. That's the instruction that Jesus gave his Talmudim, to occupy. Occupy means to handle business. We handle his business until he comes. It is our sincerest desire, again, that by the end of this worship, you would have been encouraged, empowered, and even edified through your connection with this ministry. Let's continue in our series titled "Who Was." And in our previous lesson, we looked at who was Noah's wife. We identified who the mother of the post-flood world, post-flood humanity's mother, the mother of us all. We identified who Noah's wife was. Now let's launch over into Genesis chapter 9. And let's see the aftermath. Let's see what happened to her after becoming the mother, after becoming the mother of the post-flood world. Um, Again, in our previous lesson, we identified who she was. Now, let's examine another part of the story. But before we get to her story, come with me to Genesis chapter 9, verses 1 through 17. Genesis chapter 9, verses 1 through 17. Let's set up the narrative before we get into the narrative. Let's survey the field before we step in the field. Let's get our gadgets out and let's see what the territory around this look like. In Genesis chapter 9, verses 1 through 7, 1 through 17, excuse me, reading out the English Standard Version. Notice what it says about the post-flood world. It says, "And Elohim blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth." Verse 2, the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every bird of the heavens, upon everything that creeps on the ground, and all the fish even of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. Verse 3, every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. But you, in verse 4, shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. He said, don't eat food with the blood still in it. Don't do that. I've given you everything to eat. I've put everything under your authority. But he said, do this one thing. He says, cook your food well done. That's all he's saying in verse number 4. Verse number 5. And for your lifeblood, I will require a reckoning. From every beast, I will require it, and from man. From his fellow man, I will require a reckoning for the life of man. Verse 6, whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. There is a reckoning that the Most High is telling Noah in this covenant. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For Elohim made man in his own image. And you, again, notice what he says again, echo in verse number 1. Here it gives in verse 7. What did he say, Sister Cheryl? He said, be fruitful and multiply, increase greatly on the earth and multiply it. He's repeating in the Noahic covenant, he's repeating this thing. Verse number 8. Then Elohim said to Noah and to his sons with him, behold, here it is, Uncle Rick, I establish my covenant with you and your offspring after you, and with every living thing, and every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and every beast of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark. It is for every beast of the earth. I, in verse 11, establish my covenant with you. He said it twice in two verses. So what is the Most High doing? He's establishing his covenant, right? Okay. Uh, uh, that never again shall flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. And Elohim said, this is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all future generations. I, in verse 13, set my rainbow in the clouds, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. And when, verse 14, I bring clouds over the earth, and the rainbow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. So every time you see a rainbow in the sky, that's the Most High reminding himself that he's not going to destroy the earth with water. Isn't that good news? He put his rainbow in the sky. Watch this. Not as a reminder to you, but as a reminder to himself, uh, as if he can forget Luther. But the sign, you know, he gives what tangible, concrete ideas for abstract ones. He give you something to attach his word to. Are you with me? Um, Verse 16, when the rainbow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between Elohim and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. Elohim said to Noah, this is my sign of covenant I have established between you and me and all flesh on the earth. Question: did you notice Elohim used the same terminology from his original intent for humanity in Genesis chapter 1? He used the same terminology. Turn over to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, and you will see the same terminology where he gave his intent behind his invent. Even before Adam and Eve came into existence, he already stated his invent. In Genesis chapter 1, 26 through 28, he said, be fruitful and multiply, and be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it. And now here in chapter 9, with his covenant to Noah, he gives the same instruction. He makes the same covenant. Do you see it? He said, be fruitful. And we learned in previous lessons that fruitful and multiply don't mean have babies. That's not what the text is talking about. That's not even the context of the text. That's a stretch of the text. But fruitful and multiply and fill and subdue has absolutely nothing to do with reproduction of humanity. That's what we have made it to mean. That's not what it means. Okay. Fruitful, as we learned previously, means to produce something. It means to be creative, using your Elohim given skills, the creative essence that he put in you. He says, with the creativity which came from me that I gave to you, he says, now create something and be productive. The word fruitful means to be productive. And then he said to multiply. Multiply means to reproduce what you produced. Meaning if you did it once, you can do it again. Are you with me? Then he said to multiply and to fill and to subdue. To multiply there actually means to distribute. Are you with me? Once you've created it and once you have multiplied it, then you can what? Distribute it. Am I making sense? To fill, that means to do what? To inventory it and do what? And to distribute it. To finally, to subdue means to corner the market. Am I making sense? It means to control. It means to control the market. Again, fruitful and multiply, I submit to you, has absolutely nothing to do with having babies. That's horrible preaching. That's horrible. Okay? Say what the text say. Let's say what the text say. Okay? But he uses the same terminology here in chapter 9 that he used in chapter 1. While verses 1 through 17 detailed the reestablished covenant, verses 18 through 28 that we'll see shortly described the repeated chaos that followed. May I say it again? Verses 1 through 17, Sister Cheryl, detailed the reestablished covenant. But we'll soon see in verses 18 through 28 that's going to now describe the repeated chaos that followed. May I explain? I don't know about you, Auntie Carpet, but I see a pattern. I see a pattern. I'm about to pin my pattern to the fabric before I start cutting. I see a pattern, Sister Cheryl. Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, Uncle Rick, the Most High establishes his covenant in the earth, and it is centered around the family. Am I right about it? Watch this. Satan, the devil, in Genesis chapter 3 and 4, establishes chaos in the family structure, first with the transgression of Adam and Eve. And in chapters 3 and with the killing of Abel and excuse me, let me start over. In Genesis chapters 3 and 4, Satan the devil establishes chaos in the family structure, first with the transgression of Adam and Eve in chapter 3, and then the killing of Abel in chapter 4. Do you see the pattern? Covenant followed by chaos. It's not covenant followed by success. It's covenant followed by chaos. Are you with me? Now, in chapter 9, starting with verse 18, Luther, there is another chaotic episode after covenant has been established. We've just read the first 17 verses of the reestablishment of covenant, right? Now I'm about to show you in starting in verse 18, another chaotic episode after the establishment of covenant. Why is it seemed like chaos always follow covenant? That's the question that the text must answer. Why is it chaos always follows covenant? It's as if, Uncle Rick, a cosmic game of chess is being played out with moves and counter moves, with family, Auntie Carvey, being the chessboard. Again, in Genesis chapter 3 and 4, the attack was on the family. The chaos was in the family. Now I'm about to show it to you again. The chaos, starting in verse 18 of chapter 9, is going to be in the what? In the family. Are you with me? It seems like there is a move and a counter move, Sister Cheryl, with the family as the chessboard. It seems like the more things change, the more they stay the same. The battlefield is still the family. It seems like Satan hadn't changed his tricks, has it? May I show it to you? Come with me to verse 18. And let's highlight the nouns as we go. Let's highlight the nouns. Let's circle the nouns as we go. Starting with verse 18. Watch the tension in the text. The sons of Noah who went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. In parentheses, Ham was the father of Canaan. Now, why is it in verse 18 is the author making this parenthetical note? He's making this parenthetical note because he's going to take us down a rabbit hole. Are you with me? He's starting right here, and now he's getting ready to do what, Auntie Carvey? Now he's going to narrow in. Are you with me? The booster rockets are about to fall off the shuttle and is about to hit orbit. Okay? Ham, he painstakingly goes to detail, Sister Beatrice, and tells us that Ham was the father of Canaan. Wow. Verse 19. These three were the sons of Noah, and from them the people of the whole earth were scattered or dispersed. Verse 20. Noah began to be a man of the soil, and he planted grapes. Are you with me? He drank of the wine and became drunk and lay uncovered in his tent. Do you see the plot thickening? Do you see even more tension in the text? It seemed like Noah was the first moonshine maker. You know, he had all this good earth in front of him, and he became, the text says, a man of the soil. Drank and got drunk, and as we know about drunk folk, they take their clothes off. That's kind of conducive, you know. It's getting hot in here. Let's take off all our clothes. Verse 22. And Ham, here it is again. Circle the nouns as you go. The father of Canaan. Do you see the narrowing? The author is taking us somewhere, isn't he? He's told us the same thing twice in two verses. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth took a garment, lay it on both their shoulders, walked backward, and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned backward, and they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done to him. So now we see an order. Now we know that Ham, even though as we read earlier, I think he appears second, but that's not a chronological presentation. That's a covenantal presentation. Are you with me? Now we actually see the genealogical position. We know now that Ham was the third son or the last son. Are you with me? What are we doing? Observation. What do I see? We're not trying to interpret anything right now. Just what do we see? Okay. Verse 25. At verse 24. Knew his he woke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done to him. Well, Auntie Carvey, I have a question for the text. And knowing you how I know you, I think you may have the same question. How did he wake up and know Ham did it? Did Ham have, Uncle Rick, some kind of propensity or proclivity that showed up before this event? That he automatically knew what the evidence, who the evidence pointed to? Are y'all with me? Again, just by way of observation, sometimes we read too doggone fast. Let's let the Bible define its own terms. Okay. So you drunk. You drunk as a skunk. You filthy drunk. I can't use the other one that we say in our culture. You drunken and Cootie Brown. But now you've woken up and you know that it wasn't Shem, it wasn't Japheth, but you know it was Ham. That's interesting, isn't it? Huh. And verse 25, he said, notice what he said. Are you still at verse 25 with me? He said, cursed be Ham. Is that what he said? He didn't say, cursed be Ham in verse 25, did he? He didn't even say, cursed be turkey, did he? No. He didn't say, cursed be roast beef. now he's blaming Ham, but it seemed like he's cursing Canaan. There's some tension in the text, right? Watch this. Here's the pronouncement. Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants, he shall be to his brothers. He said also, blessed be the master and Elohim of Shem, and let Canaan, who I've just cursed, be his servant. May Elohim enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem. And by the way, that's still going on. Japheth is still dwelling in the tents of Shem. That's a lesson for another day. Watch this. And let Canaan be his servants too. Verse 28. After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. And all the days of Noah were 50 years less than a millennium. And he died. Isn't that something? He lived almost a millennium. and he died 50 years short of a millennium. Again, we are allowing the scriptures to define their own ideas. Verse 22 says, Ham saw his father naked, or the nakedness of his father. But ancient writings suggest something much darker happened. What really happened in Noah's tent? And why did it lead to the biggest curse in history? That's the question I want to try to answer. In order for us to understand everything, let's dive into what's actually written in the Bible. Genesis 9 tells us Noah began again to be a man of the soil, and he planted grapes. He planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine, became drunk, lay uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth took a garment, walked backwards, and covered the nakedness of their father. When Noah awoke from his wine and knew that his youngest son had done this to him, he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants, he shall be to his brothers. Well, what does the Bible actually say? Let's see. Noah gets drunk. What's happening here? What's happening? Noah gets drunk, goes to sleep in his tent. Ham sees his father's nakedness. And when Noah wakes up, he does not scold Ham. He curses Canaan, Ham's son. So here's the tension. The Bible doesn't say Ham touched him. Does the text say that? No, it does not. It doesn't say Ham mocked, M-O-C-K-E-D, him. Do it say that? No, it does not. Let's see. It just says, at surface value, at face value, It just says that he saw something. Are you with me? But then why such a heavy response, Sister Cheryl? If he only saw something, as Prince saying in 1984, something in the water does not compute. Why such a harsh penalty for seeing something? Just looking at it at face value, right? Why is this moment treated with the weight of generational judgment? This is what ancient scholars and theologians and rabbis even and even apocryphal texts started raising deeper questions, because in Hebrew, the phrase saw the nakedness of his father might not mean what you think it means. And that's where our story takes a turn. Are you struggling with me still? We've learned in previous lessons that the scriptures are replete with idioms, with idiomatic expressions. Every culture, it don't matter where you are in the earth, every culture, every people group, every language of that people group have idioms and have figures of speech or have fancy ways of saying things. For example, again, it's raining cats and dogs. Am I saying it's literally raining cats and dogs? No, I'm not. But that phrase just simply, the idiom that phrase is suggests that it's raining very heavily, right? It's an idiom. It says one thing, but it means something totally different that's not inferred by what's said. Am I making sense? So seeing the nakedness of his father does not mean he's talking about Noah's nakedness literally. Am I making sense? That is an idiom of for something. That's a fancy way, if you will, of saying something else. Okay? If you lie down with dogs, you wake up with fleas. Every tub must sit on its own bottom. What are those? Those are idioms. Are you with me? So this is where our story now takes a turn, because now that we have identified the idiom, now we must determine what the idiom means. Are you with me? Was this just about disrespect, or was it something far more disturbing? Now, here's where things get uncomfortable. Because if you only read Genesis at surface level, the story looks simple. Ham sees his father naked, tells his brothers. That's what it looked like on surface level, right? Noah wakes up and then curses Canaan. But ancient readers didn't see it that way. They asked the same question you might be asking right now. Why such a harsh curse? If all Ham did if all Ham did was see, why did Noah curse Canaan, Ham's son, and not Ham himself? Are you with me? Something here is not computing. Early Jewish sages believed there had to be more to the story, and there is. According to the Babylonian Talmud, notice I didn't say the Torah, I said the Babylonian Talmud, okay? The holy book of the Jewish people today. The Jewish people of today, holy book is not the Torah. Their holy book is the Babylonian Talmud, okay? Ask any of them and they'll tell you that. Orthodox or Reformed, it doesn't matter, okay? So let's identify people accurately. So I'm talking about another ancient reference that's used as a holy book for people who call themselves Jews today. The Babylonian Talmud in Sanhedrin 7a. Some rabbis debated what actually happened in the tent And the interpretations, Auntie Carvey, are dark. They're dark. Rabbis disagree on what really happened in the tent. And again, the interpretations, Sister Cheryl, are dark. What's going on here? What is it really talking about when it says seeing nakedness? Was it really about seeing nakedness? Some rabbis said Ham. Let me show you how dark it gets. Some rabbis said Ham castrated Noah, and others say Ham sodomized Noah. So now we see how dark this thing is starting to get, isn't it? With seeing nakedness. I think I know why lessons like this not taught much in church. You know, it's not PG-13. It's bordering on X. Are you with me? Yes, you heard me right. Castration, sodomy. According to this ancient source, two major views existed. One believed he castrated Noah, stopping Noah from having more children and continuing the legacy. And others believed he raped his father. He raped Noah, a shocking act of domination and dishonor. Note that. A shocking act of dishonor and what? And domination. Well, these were not fringe ideas in Jewish thought. They were serious interpretations from respected sages wrestling with the same mystery as we are right now. And when you look closer at the text, these arguments, they kind of make sense, don't they? After all, the Bible did state that Ham saw the nakedness of Noah. But again, what does that really mean? The key phrase here is, again, saw the nakedness of his father. Now, is this just poetic language? In the Torah, nakedness often means something very specific. For example, Leviticus 18. After the lesson, go read Leviticus 18. Make a note of Leviticus 18. And that phrase, seeing the nakedness, shows up verse after verse after verse. And it means something very specific. Leviticus 18 is filled with laws about sexual immorality. Leviticus 18 is replete with instructions about sexual deviancy. Are you with me? Of sexual misbehavior. Over and over, the Most High warns Israel, you shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's wife. Are you with me? Or your brother, or your cousin, so forth and so on. Are you with me? It is your father's nakedness. In biblical language, uncovering nakedness equals sexual sin. It is an idiom for what? Sexual sin. Are you with me? So now that we have identified the meaning of the idiom, now let's see if the text will start to make even more sense. What happened was something sexual. A deviant sexual act took place starting with verse number 20, 20 and 22. Are you with me? Now we need to determine if it was on Noah physically, personally, or someone else. Are you struggling with me still? You know, again, let's let the scriptures define its own terms. Sleeping with someone's wife, that constituted uncovering nakedness or sexual sin. committing incest, again, coming from Leviticus chapter 18, and violating family honor. All of that is in Leviticus chapter 18, and it has to do with sexual sin. Sexual sin that's pointing to what? Violating family honor. And sleeping with someone else's wife and committing incest. Now we're starting to narrow this thing on. Are you with me? So whatever happened, Uncle Rick, inside of the tent, so far, we know two things. We know it was sexual in nature and that it violated family honor. Am I making sense? Again, what are we doing, Auntie? We're allowing the Bible to define its own terms. You know, we ain't going off on tangents and philosophizing and all that kind of stuff. No, we're letting the scriptures say what it say. Okay? So when Genesis says that Ham saw the nakedness of his father, it's not just about glancing at him by accident. It's loaded with meaning. And so far, we're starting to break that down on them. Some scholars believe it could be an incestuous assault on Noah's wife. Again, using Leviticus 18 as the precedent where this phrase continually shows up. So again, I submit to you, is the text pointing to something happening to Noah physically and personally, or did something happen to the mother of the post-flood world? Are you struggling with me still? It's starting to get dark in here, isn't it? I know. Some scholars believe it could be an incestual assault on Noah's wife, on Noah himself, or on Noah's wife, who was who? Ham's mother. Or a homosexual assault on Noah himself, or simply a severe violation of Noah's dignity through sexual means. You mean to tell me that Ham is so brazen that he did something with his own mother? And it's in the Bible. It's not in Playboy. It's not in Penthouse. It's not in Reader's Digest. It's not on BET. It's in the Bible. Wow. Either way, it points to something deeper and darker. Now, we know that seeing the father's nakedness was most likely some type of sexual sin. You agree with me so far? But the question is, why curse Canaan? Why curse Canaan? At this point, I'm going to take a station identification break, and I'm going to let y'all teach. Now I want y'all to talk to me. Unmute yourself now. And based on what we know so far, based on the pieces of the puzzle that we are putting together before we glue this puzzle to the poster and hang it on the wall, okay? Let's put some pieces together. And based on these pieces so far, the pieces on the edge are the easiest pieces to put together. I've seen Carmen do this 1,000 times. She started with the edge. Am I right about it? She don't start in the middle. She get edge pieces, corner pieces, and she work her way in putting together the puzzles. Watch this, y'all. Y'all unmute yourself now and talk to me. This is what's confusing. If it's some type of sexual sin, why curse Canaan? Now we see by way of observation that Cain is specifically, that's cute, that Canaan is specifically mentioned twice by way of introduction. We saw it in verse 18. We saw it again around verse 20. So evidently our author is trying to tell us something. You know, is he just dropping Canaan's name in there parenthetically to fill up space? Or is he trying to tell us something? Is he taking us somewhere? Because now the thing that we see is Canaan being cursed. But it doesn't seem like he did anything. Or did he? Y'all talk to me now. Oh, why the curse on Canaan, Auntie Carter?
Well, I want to back up to something that you said earlier when you mentioned Noah's wife, and I hear where you went to Leviticus, but I want to say, since Noah's wife wasn't mentioned in this Genesis passage, that you're arguing facts, not in evidence.
Say that again now. That what?
You're arguing facts, not in evidence.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I disagree with you.
I know.
Because again, the phrase father's nakedness is not talking about the father, it's talking about his wife. So she does show up. She does show up. In comparison with Leviticus chapter 18. Maybe we should have actually read Leviticus chapter 18, because in that chapter, again, it's talking about the father's nakedness is not talking about the father personally. It's talking about his wife. That's what the phrase is talking about.
Okay.
That's what the phrase means. Okay. So
the definitions come in a few books later than the event.
Sure.
Okie dokie.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So and also that's an excellent observation. That's an excellent observation. Okay. Because actually is showing us in the several books later that those books are comprising the Torah. And Torah means instructions. And it also goes to show us that Torah instruction was going on even before it was ratified and called Torah. It was already in practice. Just like the Sabbath that we just talked about was already in practice from Genesis 1. Just ratified in Torah, written down, if you will, legalized. Are you with me? The same way that we saw the sacrificing of Cain and Abel. Okay, that sacrificing predates Torah, or rather the Mosaic law. Are you with me? You see? So then, these practices and these principles were already in the earth and being done. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So then, awesome observation, man. You make the preacher think. Let me turn my head backwards. Y'all trying to make me think. Let me turn my head backwards. So why, Sister Cheryl? Why the curse on Canaan?
I don't understand the tie-in to the wife, because it doesn't say he covered up their mother. It just says they covered up the father. It doesn't say she left the room. It doesn't say she was in a tent. I don't understand the connection with the mother.
Okay, let's look at it again. What does the phrase "the nakedness of the father" mean? What does that phrase mean?
Naked daddy.
Means his wife.
Okay.
Arguing facts, not in evidence. Arguing facts, not in evidence.
Okay, let's do this.
Go to Leviticus.
Luther, go to Leviticus 18. Go to Leviticus 18. Okay. And
thank you, Lord. Thank you.
And again, we're letting the Bible define its own ideas. So since we see this hermeneutical mention, or the law of first mention, of father's nakedness, now that we see that terminology, now we have to go as a first mention. Now we need to go to other places to see what that means. Okay? All right.
Okay.
Ready? Read.
You want me to start at verse 1, or you want me to go right to the point?
Go right to the point.
Verse 6 says, none of you shall approach any one of his close relatives to uncover nakedness. I am the Lord. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father, which is the nakedness of your mother.
Whoa, whoa. I think we just saw it. Do we need to go any further? Read it again.
You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father, which is the nakedness of your mother. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness.
So the nakedness of the father is the what? Is his what?
Is his wife.
Is his wife.
Yeah.
Okay, so he saw his mother with no clothes on?
No.
Okay.
I'm lost.
No,
I wrote the short.
Okay.
I wrote the short bus. You're gonna
No,
have
no,
to
no,
do
no, no,
better.
no, 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 no.
No, you didn't.
No, 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 no. No, no. No, no. Trust me. Trust me.
Okay.
Loss is good. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Loss is good. Because oftentimes we look at things at surface level and don't go this far deep into it to see what's actually going on. Okay.
Okay.
Luther, keep reading about uncovering nakedness.
Okay.
Keep reading. Verse what? 7?
That was verse 7.
Okay.
Verse 8 says, you shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's wife. It is your father's nakedness.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
You shall not uncover the nakedness of your sister, your father's daughter, or your mother's daughter, whether they're brought up in the family or in another home.
So now the pattern is starting to emerge even more. So again, uncovering nakedness has to do with what? Sexual sin. Okay.
I get that part. I get that
Sexual misbehavior. Okay.
Okay. I get that.
You with me? Now, so that means now to uncover the nakedness of the father, sexually speaking, that's a sexual way of saying of having sex with your father's wife, or with your mother, or with your sister, as we just read.
Okay.
Close relative, sexual deviancy.
Yeah.
That's what that phrase is talking about, sexual misbehavior. So that means then that our text, by using that idiom, uncovering nakedness, is talking about something sexual.
Right.
In particular, sexual sin. So,
okay.
You with me so far?
Yes.
It's starting to make sense? Okay, great. So, okay. So now the thing that we're trying to ascertain is was the sexual act on Noah himself personally and physically, or was it upon Noah's wife, which would have been whom? Ham's mother. Yes, Auntie Carvey.
I forgot the question. It'll come back to me. Oh, I forgot the question. It'll come back.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. All right. Now that we cleared that up. Okay. So now back to my question. Back to the question. So why the curse on Canaan? That's the question. Now that we've settled what happened, or have we completely settled what happened? Because the curse is not on Ham. Curse is on Canaan.
He let it happen.
He let it happen? Okay. Ha, Uncle Rick. Oh, let's see, said the blind man to his deaf friend.
That's good, Rick. That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Anyone else?
So
Let's
the
work with
curse
that.
the curse was on Canaan because his seed was cursed.
Oh man, you're going way down in my notes. Wow, you're going way deep. Okay. Okay, we'll deal with that too. Okay. Anyone else? Why curse be Canaan?
I see why Shirley's going with it being a parental thing. If you did this thing to your parents, then you being Canaan's father, then this parental, I don't want to say oversight or lapse of continuity has been violated.
Is this like sins of the father?
Sure.
That
All that
passed on
fit.
to the children.
Oh, the sins of the father will be visited on the children.
And true. All of that fit. All of that is a fallout of this narrative. And we're going to develop everything that y'all just said. Okay. Now check this out. Why curse be Canaan?
He's the father of Canaan.
Well, check this out. Could it have been that Canaan was an accomplice?
Yes.
Because again,
arguing facts, not in evidence.
could it be? Hold on. I'm basing this now on what you guys just said about sins of fathers. No, that kind of stuff. Hold on. And again, using Bible study methods of observation of Canaan being mentioned, even before this point. So now is the author suggesting to us why he mentioned Canaan in the first place? Because could it be now we see this side of the equation he's mentioned. Now we see it on this side of the equation, he's cursed. Well, there has to be some kind of connection. Has to be. Could he have been an accomplice? That's food for thought.
Canaan is the son of Ham, right?
See, yes. He's the youngest son of Ham.
Okay,
Ham had 4 sons.
But he said curse. So is Canaan a nation or is it a person?
The person who's going to become a nation. And that nation.
Which is Ham's offspring.
Yes.
Right?
Right. Who were Ham's 4 sons?
Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
No.
I'm sorry, those are Noah's 4 sons.
Yeah, that's Noah's son.
Cush, Ethiopia, Mizraim, Egypt, Put, Libya, and Canaan, who became the father of the Canaanites.
Right.
Okay. The 10 to 12 dominant tribes of the Canaanites, who were in what's called the promised land, or in the land of Canaan first. What's called the Levant. Okay. Now, in the curse, it said, "Cursed be Canaan. He will be a servant to his brothers." So now it's some stuff. Now it's some variables on both sides of this equation that we have to work out. We got to make this equation balance. Now, the reason why you guys are not buying my argument of
Because it's
Canaan
gross.
being an accomplice is because y'all thinking that Canaan is a little boy.
Well, no,
It's
not.
still gross.
It's gross and it's grimy, but it's right there in your Bible. Yes, Luther.
Is it possible that Ham could have stopped him?
Sure.
That maybe he was making these eyes at his mother, or he was playing around and maybe he's been warned to stop it, or you know how you got somebody that's keep on looking at you like
That's his mama.
But when you crazy, you might do
That's
that.
his mama.
I have had people in jail that
That's
did
his
the
grandmother.
Canaan is his grandmama.
Canaan is his grandmother. Canaan is his grandmother.
Ham is his mama.
Yes.
Okay,
Which
but
goes back.
Canaan is his the grandson.
Mm-hmm.
So that was his grandmother.
Which goes back. This is the reason why I started this lesson the way that I did. That we see chaos following covenant.
Right.
We are trying to wrap our heads around this chaos that we see. Auntie Carvey called it gross. I call it grimy. Cheryl trying to understand it. Rick said he could have stopped it. What is this? It's chaos. That's my whole point. Just like what the serpent did in chapter 3. He came with what? Chaos. The same way in chapter 4 with the murder of Abel. What was that? Chaos followed by covenant. And here we are trying to wrap our heads around chaos. And it's gross. That Carvey said it best. That's his mom. Excuse me. That's his grandmama.
Well, it's Canaan's grandmama, but if Ham is the culprit, he did that to his mama.
Wait a minute. Again, I submit to you. Could he have been an accomplice? Could it have been both of them?
It's grimy, gross.
Oh, yeah. And it's right there in your Bible.
If you see a crime and you don't do something about it, you're an accomplice.
You're an accomplice.
That's omission, which means that you're just as guilty as the perpetrator.
And as Uncle Rick just brought out, if you're an accomplice, that means that you're guilty too.
Yeah, the law doesn't even call it that anymore.
Now,
charged with the same crime.
Now this curse be Canaan. Now it's starting to make sense. Maybe he wasn't just an innocent bystander. Ooh, Derek. What have you opened up here? Guess who came to dinner? Watch this. May I stir the pot even more, Auntie? Watch this. Either Canaan was an accomplice, or maybe, Sister Cheryl, he was the result of the sin.
So he was the child from incest?
Because
but you said that.
Because again, seeing the nakedness of your father has to do with what? Sexual sin.
Yeah.
And so it's very possible that what Ham did was get his own mother pregnant, and the result of that was whom? Canaan.
Jesus, keep me near the cross. Ooh, no wonder they skipped that.
Yeah. And watch this. And I'm going to prove these points to you later with other biblical narratives. Matter of fact, let's pull on one right now. Okay? David had a son. His son was Absalom. What did Absalom do?
Hate your sister.
What did Absalom do?
He slept with a family member.
No. What did
Uncovered his father's
Absalom do?
nakedness.
He went after his mama.
In defiance of David, because David did not handle properly when Absalom's sister Tamar was sexually taken advantage of by her half-brother. Absalom got mad and Absalom revolted. Read it, y'all. It's in the scriptures. And in revolt against David, his father, what did Absalom do? Right there on the top of David's house, he got all of David's concubines and had sex with them.
He did. Yes, sir. That's true.
Again, and that's right there in your Bible. What was that? That was sexual dishonor, and that was what? It was actually an act of war. That's what it was. By me sleeping with your wives and concubines, that's an act of war, saying that I have taken over your house and your kingdom. That's what that meant.
Wow.
So here in the text, that idea is still presented with what Canaan has done. Canaan's action is saying, watch this, Noah, I'm in control now as your younger son. I've taken over your house. It's an act of war.
You mean Ham? What Ham has done?
Yes.
Right.
And by allowing my son to do it, that's the biggest act of war. Or Canaan is the result of it, which is still an act of war and dishonor. Do you see the chaos after the covenant? That's all I'm trying to get you to see. Yeah. Whether you agree with me or not.
Chaos. Yeah, that's chaos.
Joey,
that's definitely chaos.
Where is Maxwell Smart, Agent 86, when you need him? Chaos is out of control. Right? Oh, goodness. Oh. Canaan may have been Ham's accomplice or even the result of the sin. Or Noah cursed Ham's lineage to cut off his legacy and punish his house permanently. The same thing that the Most High did to Absalom for what Absalom did. Most High got him. Are you with me? Watch this. I got another one for you. Reuben, Jacob's oldest son, did the same thing. Okay, so all this time, y'all thought those stories were isolated incidents? No. So if you understand those stories, it still fits right here, don't it? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And so because of that sin, the response was what? Lineage being cut off, permanently cut off, disconnected. In ancient culture, let's put on the culture of the times now. In ancient culture, cursing your son's descendants was like severing your family's future. It wasn't just about immediate payback. It was about erasing honor and creating generational shame. Because of what you did, Ham/Canaan, now you will be followed with what? Generational shame and no honor, erased honor. It wasn't about immediate payback. Are you with me? What Genesis describes is only a few words, but in ancient Eastern cultural tradition, it expands into a disturbing family tragedy. a son humiliating his father, a violation so severe it fractured generations, and a curse that echoed long after Noah sobered up. This wasn't just about disrespecting in the eyes of ancient Near Eastern cultures. It was about rebellion. It was about domination. And it was a war, here it is, Auntie Carvey, on sacred order. What's the sacred order? Mother and sons? Mothers and grandsons? No. What Ham/Canaan did was a war on what? Sacred order. What happened with Ham didn't just end with him. In fact, the idea of sexual sin, generational curse, became recurrent because, became recurrent because of this reoccurring dark thread, as we just talked about, in Israel's history. Again, for example, Reuben slept with Jacob's concubine. Like Ham, he violated his father's sacred space. Jacob was furious for that. Matter of fact, if you read the testaments of the patriarchs and read Reuben's story, he talks about it in detail. Reuben goes into detail in his testament where he says that he was sick unto death for almost 7 years, and his father pleaded with God not to kill his son because of Reuben's sexual deviancy. He was sick for 7 years unto death. Okay, you don't believe me. I'm going to have to send you the testament of Reuben. Are you with me? In Genesis 49, verse 4, he cursed Reuben's future. He said, "You will not excel." Read that before you go to bed tonight. In Genesis chapter 49, verse 4. He said to Reuben, Jacob said to Reuben on his deathbed, he looked at Reuben and said, "You will not excel." He cursed Reuben's future. Example 2 again, as we talked about with Absalom, what he did. In rebellion, Absalom, in rebellion against David, he does this public act to disgrace him. It leads to disaster and death. Absalom is violently killed and his line was what? Cut off. Sexual dishonor toward fathers was seen as the highest form of rebellion. It was so serious, it resulted in generational punishment or total severing of inheritance. That's a good stopping point, isn't it? That's a good stopping point. I almost made it to page 15. That's a good stopping point. What are we doing? We're allowing the scriptures, we're allowing the Bible to define its own ideas. As ugly as it may be, as grimy as it may be, as ghoulish as it may be, as gross as it may be. But I submit to you, I'm glad that the Bible didn't omit it. I'm glad that it shows humanity at its worst, so we can do better, so we can be better. Yeah. Thanks again for making our page your destination. We appreciate this opportunity of allowing us to share in the scriptures. We pray you have been encouraged, empowered, and even edified through your connection with this ministry. Now, come on back this coming Sabbath day, 12 noon Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. East African Time, 7 p.m. Southern African Time, 6 p.m. Central African Time, 5 p.m. West African Time. Let's get back into this study And let's see the rest of the story as it relates to Ham. What did you do? Let's get back into it. Signing off. Take care.